Youcef Nadarkhani faces execution within days if he refuses to renounce his faith. The British-based Christian Solidarity Worldwide reports that the Iranian Supreme Court will hold a hearing tomorrow to give him one last opportunity. Heather Sells has more.
Youcef Nadarkhani has already refused to recant his faith in court, and the British group Christian Solidarity Worldwide says he has one more chance.
As far as we understand, he will be asked again whether he wishes to recant. Should he refuse, we understand that he will be facing execution.
CSW says Iranian law doesn't even define apostasy or its punishment. The group says that in this case, the courts are using fatwas issued by powerful ayatollahs.
This whole situation, the charges against him and the punishment he's facing are illegal, not only by the Iranian constitution, but also the international treaties to which Iran is party.
The pastor's case stands as a clear example of Iran's current crackdown on Christians. Recently, the government has openly admitted that Iranians are leaving the Islamic faith and becoming Christians.
In particular, over the last year, it has been this persecution has gained momentum. And I think that's really because the church is growing with increasing momentum.
Many believe Pastor Nadarkhani was targeted because he spoke out. He recently questioned the Muslim monopoly on the religious instruction of children in Iran. Heather Sells, CBN News.
The American Center for Law and Justice is working to help free Pastor Youcef. The ACLJ's Jordan Sekulow joins us now from our Washington bureau. Jordan, how close is Pastor Youcef to being put to death?
At this moment that I'm talking to you, Lee, could be less than 24 hours. He has that one last opportunity under their Islamic law there in Iran to recant his Christian faith. If he does the same thing he's done the last 2 days and refuses to do that, the court has authorization, the lower court has authorization from the Supreme Court to carry out the execution at any time, and that could come in less than 24 hours, which is why it is so crucial that we get this story out and that we get it on the media and that we get our politicians, our Secretary of State Hillary Clinton needs to come out on this, Lee, maybe even President Obama. We had a statement from Ambassador Susan Johnson-Cook, who does religious freedom issues, but we need to go a step higher here and really let the Iranian regime know that if he hangs, if this man is killed just because he is a Christian, we're not going to blame some court system in a northern province in Iran on the Caspian Sea. We're going to blame President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad and the Ayatollah.
Why has Pastor Youcef been targeted?
It is very interesting. You know, the last person executed for apostasy was in 1990, so it is very rare. Usually what happens, and we've reported that on a number of occasions, that Christians are just brutally killed and no one's brought to justice. No one's charged with murder. There's no criminal investigation. They're just done away with. Here you had a pastor, again, he's been involved in the church for 10 years. I spoke to one of his associates from Iran. He was in Iran today on my radio show, and he was targeted because of the fact that he wanted his kids to have a Christian education, which, because he had Muslim parents, Pastor Youcef, that would be a violation of the law. That was the initial charge. Then they changed it to apostasy, and like what we talked about in the piece, it's not written down in Iranian law, but in that law, jurists are allowed to refer to writings from, let's say, Ayatollah Khomeini from the 1970s or 80s
and Jordan,
to justify this.
I understand that his lawyer is a Muslim, and he's been targeted as well. Is that correct?
And that's one, I think, story about this. It's important for us to know as Christians that he has a very brave attorney we've been working with very closely, who's a Muslim human rights expert recognized around the world, sentenced to 9 years in prison and had his bar license revoked. He could appeal that, but he's still, of course, handling this case. So we can't forget that there are those of different faiths who are willing to risk their own lives, their own careers, to save others. But I'll say this, Lee, to kind of close. Iran today has threatened to put warships on the U.S. coast in the Atlantic and is about to kill and sanction the killing of a Christian pastor. And at the UN, we're not focusing on the threat of this country with a possibility of a nuclear weapon, and we see how they treat their own people. Imagine how they treat us.
Jordan, would you keep us posted on this?
Absolutely, and I ask everybody to pray for Pastor Youcef and his attorney and his family and children.
We'll certainly do that. Thank you, Jordan Sekulow.